I got your six, yeah, this life that we live ain't just words that we say, it's the weight that we give. Crayon Box Confessions, judgment free, don't pretend. Tell your story right here, we don't break, we don't bend. Everything happens for a reason, they say. Even pain got a purpose, even night finds a day. You ain't fighting alone, yeah, we stand to the end. I got your six, yeah, I got you, my friend. 97, young Jimmy laced up his boots with a mission. Never knew that his path would be written in fire and friction. Ramadi rose with attention, thick every second to gamble. 04 IED blast, wounded a Marine with blasting shrapnel, dust in the lungs. Heartbeat racing, vision blurred from the shock. Life changed in the moment when the world just stopped. Lost parts of himself, but not the fight, that's a different condition. You can break down flesh, but you can't kill the mission. I got your six, yeah, this life that we live ain't just words that we say, it's the weight that we give. Crayon Box Confessions, judgment free, don't pretend. Tell your story right here, we don't break, we don't bend. Yeah, Walter Reed trying to piece back a life from the wreckage. VA hospital halls with a broken, learn strength in the pressure. That's what Beth walked in, yeah, fate in disguise. Crayon Eater's wife, but she saw through the eyes. Not the scars, not the past, not the war that he lived. Saw a man still standing with a life left to give. He said, you saved me, she said we saved each other. Built a life from the pain, raised three together, father and mother. Years turn to purpose, every story gets told. Now they open that door so nobody walks alone. War took pieces, love gave them back. Pain made the wound, purpose filled the crack. Silence will kill you, truth brings you home. You ain't gotta carry that weight alone. I got your six, this ain't a slogan, it's a last from the war to the healing. We don't ever back down. Crayon Box Confessions, judgment free, let it out now. Tell your story, yeah, your voice matters, pal. Everything happens for a reason, we see. Even broken roads lead to who we can be. You ain't fighting alone, yeah, we stand to the end. I got your six, yeah, I got you, my friend.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Crayon Box Confessions. My name is Beth King, also known as the Crayon Eater's wife.
I'm Jimmy King, also known as your one-legged wonder. Thank you everybody for joining us here in the Crayon Box for the show tonight. What?
I thought you forgot the name.
No.
We were doing that for the longest time.
Yes,
we kept
we have.
saying the old show's name.
So we've got a great show for you tonight. For anybody who has joined us early, if you could highlight in the comments, let everybody know that we're out here putting a show on for you, trying to put a smile on your face, pass on some good information. It'd be greatly appreciated. Tonight we have Two Docs and a Grunt, both the podcast and quite literally Two Docs and a Grunt. We've obviously three veterans who have their own podcast as far as it goes, talking about anything from current issues to
really talking to different veterans and talking about PTSD and TBI as well. I mean, you talk about the struggles. So
we've got well, I guess in order as far as what we've got on the screen, we've got Andrew, Lewis, and Nate. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the show tonight. How y'all doing?
Thank you for having us. Doing well.
Feel good.
Outstanding. I guess we'll start out. You guys can go in the order you want as far as it goes. If we can get a little bit of a bio on each of you, just tell us your backgrounds. Where you served, where you grew up, what took you into the military, what branch you served with. Just give us a little bit of history up through the services.
Well, my name is Nate Emery. I grew up in Tacoma, Washington, and joined the Marine Corps in the delayed entry program as soon as I turned 17, and went into the Marine Corps. And 18 days after I graduated from high school, I was in boot camp, and first place I stopped for my first command was in theater in Operation Desert. I was an anti-armor assaultman. Went to 3rd Battalion, 9th Marines. Was attached to Task Force Papa Bear. And then I did my 3 years with 3rd Battalion, 9th Marines. Went to Mogadishu, Somalia. Did a couple of Joint Task Force missions. Korea a couple of times, Okinawa a couple of times. It was a pretty heavy laden first 3 years of my career. I'd say I think the last count was 10 different personal awards and medals all came from that first unit. So we were deployed quite a bit, and I had 7 or 8 different MOSs depending on how you want to count them across 22 years. I did
Oh,
10
wow.
years. Yeah, I did 12 years enlisted and 10 years as an officer, and then I did a total of 33 years in the DoD if you count my contractor time and government employee time. I was also worked at a Secretary of the Navy as a civilian. But yeah, I got been married twice, divorced twice, so I've completed 2 marriages, uh, 7 boys and 5 girls. So
Oh,
I've been pretty busy. I was a single dad of 4 kids for a while. I had 100% of the time, and now I'm down to just my youngest daughter with me.
I think
So
we know. I think we know another Marine who might want some tips and advice in that area. He's got 7 daughters.
yeah.
yeah.
He's
Yeah,
still
he was a guest. If I know who you're talking about, he was a guest on our webcast as well. I tried to keep it not being about me. I wanted to make sure we focus on him.
no, it was Theo. He has 7 daughters.
It's our producer.
I call it
okay.
Karma 1 through 7.
Yeah. Also, another off subject side note as far as that goes, Nate, you do know that they did away with our MOS, right? I was a 51 as well.
Yeah,
With their MOS, I'm not sure what they changed it to, but there are
yeah.
no more.
I guess there's no need to identify, the difference between friendly armor and enemy armor. So, I guess who knows?
All right, who we got next?
Jimmy forgot the order,
Yeah,
guys.
I'll blame the TBI. It's a catch up.
Luis, why don't you go? Luis, you go.
You want me to go ahead and go?
Go ahead, Luis. It's up
Sounds good. Sounds good. My name is Luis Fonseca Jr.
to you.
I was raised in Fayetteville, North Carolina, as an Army brat. Kind of traveled the world. Lived in Alabama. Was born in Germany. Lived in Alabama. Went back to Germany. Came back home to North Carolina, and that's where I enlisted in the Navy in 1999. I had no clue what a Navy hospital corpsman was. Being raised an Army brat, I knew what an Army medic was. And being that my dad was a soldier, he always told me that the Marines were the dumbest of the dumbest. So as a high school dropout, I figured, where should I go? I should go amongst all my dumb buddies. And I went to the Marine Corps and realized that they didn't have a medical field. And that's how I ended up joining the Navy, which I'm glad that I did. I ended up spending 22 years on active duty throughout my Navy career. In those 22 years, I did 8 deployments, 3 of them being boots on ground with Marines. And I'm sorry, not 3 of them, 5 of them being boots on ground with the Marines. And then 3 of them, one was we pushed the MEU to the 5th and 6th area of operation as well. We deployed in response to Unified Hope when Haiti hit in 2010. And then when the LA COVID mission in 2019, not 19, was it 19 in 2019, 2020, when
2020.
COVID mission happened up in LA, went out and did that. My once y'all get to know me, you'll realize why I have a hard time saying certain words. But if there's some sort of notoriety that gave me within my Navy career, I was awarded the Navy Cross, which is second only to the Medal of Honor, due to my actions on the battlefield of the Battle of Al-Nasiriyah, which infamously became known as Ambush Alley on March 23rd of 2003. So I was fairly early on in my career, and I continued to keep doing the dance in the show, as people say, up until 22 years. Post retirement, I did go into the trades and was doing that for a while, but just due to previous injuries, it was exacerbating my injuries, and so I decided to do a professional career change, and I finally found what I feel has always been my calling. It just took me a little bit longer, and it took me some struggles to get to where I'm at. And I recently, 2 months ago, graduated with my bachelor's in psychology, and in August I'll start my
Congratulations.
thank you.
Amazing.
And,
Outstanding.
and in August I'll start my master's degree in psychology. And the plan with that is to give back to our military and veteran community that are giving us so much.
Absolutely.
Outstanding.
That's amazing. Congratulations. For
Thank
sure.
you.
That's such an accomplishment. All right, Doc, it's on you now. You
Okay.
got to speak.
I'm Andrew Barry, also known as Doc Barry. I am a psychologist and psychoanalyst, and I specialize in working with veterans and first responders fighting with post-traumatic stress disorder. I practice in a part of Schenectady, New York, known as Niskayuna. I
Mm.
was raised, for the most part, from 1968 through 1988 in a little town called Spencertown that nobody's ever heard of. It's in Columbia County, about 35 miles south of Albany on the other side of the river.
Okay.
Dad served World War II era. He graduated high school in 1945, and the war was winding down, but he still did a year and a half, 2-year hitch, made it up to tech sergeant. My grandfather, my maternal grandfather, was an army officer, decorated, served in South Bavaria. I wanted to do my part, and after high school, I joined the Marines. I did not have the best or most successful tour, unfortunately. Boo-hoo on me. No combat, but I do have a 100% honorable discharge, not general under honorable conditions. It's honorable. And after that, that's when school started.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of school. Associate's degree, Schenectady County Community College. Bachelor's degree, State University of New York at Albany. My first master's degree is from Harvard University Extension School. And my thesis director was a guy by the name of George Goethals, who incidentally was a World War II veteran. He was my mentor, my friend, and he was pivotal in my life. My first doctorate is a PhD. It's from the Union Institute and University. It's in psychology. My second master's degree is from Forest Institute of Professional Psychology, as is my second doctorate, which is a PsyD, PSY period, D period, Springfield, Springfield, Missouri. I'm double board certified by the American Board of Professional Psychology in clinical and counseling psych. I trained as a psychoanalyst at the William Alanson White Institute in New York City. And this past year, after years of toil, I was finally elected fellow of the American Psychological Association. I'm currently a fellow in two separate divisions of APA, and I have submitted paperwork to be considered to be elected fellow in quite a few other divisions as well. I have no idea why, how I wound up here as far as my patient population. I didn't choose veterans and first responders, they chose me. I make my background pretty clear to everybody. I hardly saw a thing, even as a volunteer firefighter and EMT, didn't see hardly anything. And for whatever reason, the guys take one look at this 12-foot tall version of Santa Claus and they say, that's the man I'm going to talk to. I am in some damn fine company. And especially with Louise and even more so Nate, I am going to owe men like these just about most, if not all, of my career. as far as I'm concerned. I'm in some damn fine company. That's me.
That's awesome. Now, like we said, these guys are both are all three of them. Sorry, you the host of Two Docs and a Grunt. It's a really amazing podcast. And I had the opportunity to talk to people who've actually been on your show. What I love about your show is that it doesn't.
Before we go too
Oh,
much
he's gonna
farther,
cut me off. He said, "Yo, he was gonna cut y'all off." You just had to get your payback. All
yeah,
right,
this is
he's
payback.
gotta get to
But
commercials.
before we
and-
change subject and go from military careers into y'all's podcast, give me just a minute to pause the show here, interrupt, pay the bills, and catch up on the comments, and then we will jump into the show as far as talking about y'all's show.
He's got to get his licks in while he can.
Yeah, it's not often that I'm able to.
It's
So
not.
and we'll blame the TBI brain for I've got to stay on track and hopefully I don't mess this up. But
Mhm.
for those of you who like your energy drinks, I don't know anybody who goes to a case a week or more. Check out Omeza. These guys are great. It's an all natural energy drink. They have a doctor of their own who has set up the formulas. They've got three great flavors. The original, which is probably closest to either a Monster or Red Bull,
Regular
or something as far as
Monster.
it goes.
For sure.
They've got a peach and a strawberry kiwi. They all taste great. They're all 100% natural. They've got 100% natural ingredients. You get the benefit of it being both hydrating and giving you energy without the sugary crash that you get from a lot of the energy drinks. So head over to shop.omeza.com. Check them out. If you use the promo code TW1775, you should get a 20% discount off there.
Yep.
Um,
And the great
and-
thing is they also have a variety pack.
yeah.
So for the people who
you're unsure
haven't
of the-
tried them before, you get all three flavors in one pack, so you can pick your favorite, which we've already done.
And for those of you who like your caffeine but prefer it in generally the hot variety, head over to
My coffee lovers.
see if I can not mess this up this time. Frontier Settlement Roasting Company.
French Settlement Roasting
French Settlement.
Company.
I told you I was going to mess it up. Where did I get Frontier from?
I don't know.
Anyway, from back in the Frontier days, you got the French Settlement Roasting Company. These guys are great. They've got 25 different flavors of coffee, if not more. We personally are currently working on the jet fuel. And I will definitely say it has more than earned its name.
It really has. It works.
They've got a wide variety of coffees, both caffeinated and decaf. Check them out. FrenchSettlementRoastingCompany.com, or you can scan a QR code. Again, if you use CW1775 as a promo code, you will get a nice little discount there for both companies using the promo code. For the purchases does give us a little kickback in the aspect of helping support the show. So supporting them supports us, and
Well, currently all the proceeds are going to the motorcycle.
well, yes, currently all the proceeds are going to the motorcycle that we are fixing up to give away to a veteran or first responder. We will get into that during our next commercials.
Why we choose the guy with the TV out to do the commercials, I still don't know.
Yeah, especially when someone like so going back real quick on the comments before we jump into the rest of the interview talking about the show. Stephen Michael Bearden danced into the room like a wildcat and said hi. And he also said nice hair, Beth.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Lance McElhaney said only 2 divorces. Those are rookie numbers. Ron Braylon said howdy.
I'm done.
Only got one. We've only got one divorce under our belt so far.
I had one senior chief.
Not
I had one senior chief that had 5 divorces under his belt.
Ooh,
Duke,
Somebody loves pain.
way off.
Duke Duquette said Semper Fi. Tisha Tucker said everyone. Theo Tour said I'm following Nate's lead. Still got more babies to make. Jamie High said holla.
Hey, sweetheart.
Theo said only a Marine would say boo hoo for not saying combat.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
And then
That's what I laughed at when I
Artia
looked at the
said,
commercial.
"No wonder
first.
you didn't have a good tour in the Corps. You're too smart."
I love that.
There
Lance
you go.
McElhaney said that is pro level. I only have 3.
Yeah. Okay. So is that all the comments?
That catches us up.
All right. So now let's go back to Two Docs and a Grunt. Like I said, I had an opportunity to talk to some of your previous guests, and you very much live by the same motto that we do. I got your 6 is not a t-shirt slogan. It is a lifestyle. And I love that you guys have the ability and are willing to continue that conversation afterwards. You're not asking people to come out and bare their souls and then leave them out to figure it on their own. But I really want to also talk about, like, why is this platform talking about veterans with other veterans podcast platform so important? Not just your platform, but our platform. Why do you guys think this is such an important platform to have available?
Can I take this one, guys?
Yeah, go right ahead because I've never thought of that before.
You know, I honestly think our platform has such an impact and can still make a bigger impact. Um, Especially if you had 3 guys that knew more about technology than what we did. But the reason why I think we have such a great impact,
Producer.
such a great impact and reliability is honestly because of our diversity. Believe it or not, you know, in today's climate, diversity, um, in equality, acceptance, you know, aren't aren't popular words right now, right? But I
Right.
really think it's our diversity that makes us who we are. I mean, you got a board certified psychologist and psychoanalyst, right?
Right.
I will say that diversity is only a popular word when it comes to making jokes about DEI hires. But
Yeah.
sorry, carry on.
Right. You have a Navy corpsman who spent 22 years in the Navy, and out of those 22 years, 20 of them were in what we call combat, conflict, war, whatever you want to call it. And unfortunately, in those 20 years, I got to see a lot of that combat, and it messed with my PTSD, my mental health a lot. And then you have someone like Nate. They came from what we call. Is that just on my end, or is that okay?
No,
That
it's trying
Right,
to-
too.
it what we call, you know, someone that came from the bottom and now they're at the top. You know, started this enlisted ranks and then made it up into the officer ranks. Saw just about every um not platform, but every type of decision that can be made almost at every rank that he made it up to, right? And
Right.
saw why certain yeses are made yes, certain no's are made no's, right? And I think the combination of that 3 right there allows just about anyone that comes into our audience to have someone that they could relate to. You know, there's things that I can't relate to, you know, Desert Storm, Desert Shield, um, the Beirut bombing, you know, that Nate can relate to. There's things in psychology, even though I'm studying it, that because Doc Barry has 20 plus years of dealing with PTSD, anxiety, psychology, that he can just relate to. And then at the core, not at the core of it, but maybe at the bottom part of that barrel, I consider myself the bottom part of the barrel, is then you just have a Navy corpsman that's just kind of been through it, you
Right.
know, and isn't afraid to share their story of of PTSD, anxiety, depression, trying to take our lives. You know what I mean? Giving credit to our kids, knowing that if they weren't there or if they didn't walk into that room right at that moment, I wouldn't be here, type of a deal. And I really think that's what Two Docs and a Grunt brings to the platform of social media that might be just a little bit different than other platforms.
Duke Duquette said, in commenting, said that it's because we understand each other. And last,
And I think Lance hit it right on the head. He said, real people do not speak veteran. And they don't appreciate our verbiage or jokes.
Correct.
let me correct her. Just as Lance said, real people.
First quotations and all. But I mean, that's so true. And, you know, with PTSD, TBI situations, I personally have found some veteran communities can become toxic. So to have this positive outlet, to have a place that veterans can go and, you know, speak veteran, talk to each other, and for you guys to be able to have the actual podcast and show people like me, the wife, people like Jimmy's parents who just came in town, get a chance to see the other side, maybe understand a little bit more. I have been a very big advocate when it comes to there's something you and I've explained it before, or something that Jimmy has been explaining to me for 15 years, and it never clicked. But then speaking to another veteran, they may say it in a different verbiage, a different way, and it just all of a sudden clicks. And I think that is so important, you know, because you know, having these type of platforms where we have the veteran podcast, where we have, you know, our jokey jokes, but for you guys to actually sit down and have the panel that you do have, where you've got somebody who's studying to be, you know, for their master's to become a doctor, somebody who's already, and Nate, who you've been through, like you said, through the entire ranks, is so beneficial to any veteran stepping into your studio, so to speak.
Yeah, the commenting on Beth's thing there, as far as it goes, like she said, there's times where I've tried for years to explain something, and it just she would understand for as much as she could, but she really wasn't getting it. And then we talked to another veteran couple, and the other veteran started describing the same thing that I had been saying for years. And she's like, "Oh, I get that," and I'm like, "Excuse me." And I literally had to stop and look at her because it was
you too.
yes, and it, actually I think it was the same couple, same conversation.
Same couple, same conversation.
10 minutes later, the wife was explaining something. I was like, "Oh, okay, is that what you've been?"
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I get.
And it's a beautiful.
And it finally started clicking. It, and that aspect is nice. The other thing that Beth has said multiple times, as far as it goes, when trying to explain the connection that veterans will have with each other, and it's both with veterans and first responders, and sometimes the crossover between a veteran talking to a first responder who may not be a veteran themselves, but they are a law enforcement officer or something, as far as it goes. When veterans talk to each other, I mean, I've witnessed it after she pointed it out.
Yeah,
You know,
I've always
that-
seen it.
Yeah, she's always noticed it. I didn't notice it until she pointed it out, and then since then I've noticed it a million times over. As far as it goes, you can see a veteran talking to somebody, and you can tell physically. You can sit there without being able to hear the conversation. You can watch, and you can tell the moment that they realize that the person they're talking to is another veteran.
100%.
They will have a physiological change in both their body language, the
It's almost
mannerisms
like
that
they
they
can
use.
relax for a second.
Yeah,
It's like
right. And
it's like
you
taking
can
a
see
deep
that
breath.
physical change come over them, and the way that they start responding to and interacting with that person once they realize that they're a veteran. And I love that aspect. It's a shame that we as people can't always connect with just another human being on that level, regardless of the fact of whether they're a veteran or not. But I also love the fact that as soon as they realize, oh shit, this guy's a veteran as well, you see that demeanor change, that physiological change in them, and the way they interact with each other is great. And
Yeah.
Now,
I,
so
if I could just touch on that real quick, Beth, if you don't mind.
no.
Um, Nate and Doc Barry, I think, are the ones I've said it the most. I've only said it maybe once or twice, but they both have said that after we've gone off of a podcast, that the veteran spouse, usually we have males, um, but we do have females, but they'll say that the veteran spouse will reach out to them with their either text message or phone call and will say, for once, I now fully understand what my spouse has been going through. And
Yeah,
that is magic right there.
it
Not
is.
on our end, not on us three end, not on us five of us end. It's just somehow the words came out perfectly at that time for that spouse to finally understand, oh, that's what they've been going through.
Yeah.
That's where they need me.
No,
And
I 100% agree. We have had oh, just to kind of put it out, what was it, 12 years ago? I had a suicide attempt, my last suicide attempt. And Jimmy, for the longest time, was very angry with me. It was a catalyst in our relationship. And until we sat down and spoke to a couple that had the same, thing happen with them and something she had dealt with her husband, it was that conversation that those light bulbs went out with us or went off with for us. And it changed our entire relationship. Um, Anger that I was holding on to for him not responding the way I thought he should have responded, anger in him because to me, it was the best thing that ever happened to me the day I woke up in that hospital because I was still here and I've appreciated life in a way that I had never appreciated beforehand. And he could not get that when I would say that was the best day that was the best thing ever happened to me was waking up. He just could not get there. And with talking to that couple, it literally like it has improved our relationship tenfold. And continuing that with talking to veterans and spouses, it has since we started this process, I feel like our relationship has gotten so much better.
Something, Beth, that you and Jimmy have touched on here that I think is easy to miss because most support groups are usually all veteran or all spouse or all family member. And
Right.
I've been fortunate for about 3 years now. I've been in a support group that was started by a VA psychiatrist, but he doesn't run the group. He just started it. And from
Mhm.
the very beginning, it was for veterans and their spouses. While maybe only 25% of the people in the group bring their spouses, it's amazing to see them when they start to understand their veteran a lot better. And they become, instead of being married to a service member or a veteran, it's like they truly become one. And
Yeah.
they can understand when something bad went on in that group, they carry it as well. And to the extent that we've even as we've got members in our group from their 20s all the way up into their 90s. As we've lost members, their spouses continue to come to the group all by themselves because they are now ingrained as part of that group. They can't imagine not being part of their group, and we can't imagine not having them there. They become family. And I think, like what you guys were talking about, how you as a couple interacting with another couple, there's so much strength in that I think is underestimated or not understood.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with that. When we started our group, of course, our whole motto was healing through laughter, but I was big about no, not only do we have veterans, we have spouses, and I even invite the supporters to come in because I feel like if you're really going to support us, you should see what we're all about. You
You know,
should really interact with us. I think a lot of people growing up, some like some of you, I was a military brat, so I was very familiar with how things worked in the military. And it wasn't until I got old enough that I realized a lot of the civilians are very ignorant to what, and I don't mean that meanly. I just mean they just do not know not only our culture, but the rules and regulations or how things work and things like that. Like,
You should just quit.
yeah, you should
Yeah.
just you
That
could have
happened in the
refused
military.
to go to Iraq. Why did
Jimmy, you say that as in my mind when Beth was talking about that. Um, I remembered the meme that said the only thing that kept me going at a job that I hated was the NJ, or not the NJP, the UCMJ.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
there's that, and then as Beth said, we obviously we've had our struggles in our personal lives and stuff as far as it goes, and we've sought help uh for it. And honestly, I think half the time I would say that us interacting with other veteran couples and other veterans, especially the other veteran couples, um as far as it goes, was more therapeutic than actually seeing therapists at times, because most of the therapists that we've seen didn't quite get it. And one thing that, and for those of you who have the psychology background or whatever, you may understand, you may think that, okay, I'm just taking it wrong. But one word that I hated when we were going through it at the time, and I thought was overused, was codependency.
Right.
I'm like, do you, okay, well, you truly must not understand a veteran relationship in the aspect of most veteran relationships that last. And in my opinion, or at least in my opinion, I will say that this is my opinion. I obviously am not a professional in any way, shape, or form as far as it goes, but most veteran relationships that have lasted and passed the test of time are highly codependent.
Mhm.
The more codependent they are, the better they work as far as it goes, because of the structure. In my, again, this is my opinion, because of the structure that we're used to from the military, the codependency of that marriage is what makes it work.
Mhm.
Being too independent ends up
I think there's healthy codependency and there's unhealthy codependency
True.
because I had breast cancer in 2010, got addicted to my pain pills. So we went through addiction, and that's when codependency mainly was being brought up to Jimmy.
yeah.
Um,
And like I said, I
and
might be
there
jaded towards
was
the word, but
definitely some unhealthy codependency issues that we had that we dealt with. But I'm a caregiver. I'm with him 24/7.
Right.
I cannot not be, uncodependent. I give him as much, autonomy and dependency as possible, but at the same time, we're, always
Yeah,
together.
you wouldn't tell somebody who's with their children, a stay-at-home parent, to
Right.
say, "Hey, quit identifying as a parent."
Yeah.
That's what you do. You know.
Well,
Um, so okay, so obviously you guys didn't serve together. How did you guys meet? How did you decide, okay, this is what we want to do? All right,
That's a
go.
good documentary
I need to
question.
hear Doc.
Okay. Um, Back in 2015 or thereabouts, um, after I finished analytic training, I became a member of the American Psychoanalytic Association and other analytic associations as well. And I found out that there was a committee dedicated to veterans, and it was called the Service Members and Veterans Initiative. And I asked if I could be on that committee. And the guy who was running it at the time was the chief psychiatric consultant for the VA, Harold Cudler, who became an analyst later on in his career. And he said, "Sure, tell me about yourself." So I gave him the rundown. And he and I were talking one day, and I said, "So what's a guy got to do to present around here?" Because the American Psychoanalytic Association's yearly meeting at the Waldorf was taking place. And he said, "Well, you have to show initiative," which you have. "So what do you got in mind?" And I said, "How about applying since I'm fresh out of analytic training, the basics of interpersonal psychoanalysis to working with veterans. And he said, "Okay, it's yours. You're doing the keynote." I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here." So I'm like, "All right." So I thought to myself, since this is going to be an analytic presentation, now normally you would have another analyst as you're discussing. In other words, I read my paper or whatever, my my discussant, a colleague, an analyst, riffs off of it, and then the floor is open up for questions. Now, as anybody who knows me will tell you, starting with these two, I can never do anything the right way or the normal way. I got to do it my way. Called the Frank Sinatra approach. It's fairly effective.
About that, like,
Um, so anyway, I thought this is about veterans. Why do I want to have an analyst as my discussant? Why not have a veteran? So Nate's the only guy. He was the only choice for me. Um, I it was just it just flowed. It was natural. It was right. So I called him up and he said, "Where and when do you want me?" On a lark. And so we go and we deliver the it was the paper, the interpersonal psychoanalytic approach to working with veterans. And there's like maybe 60 people in that room, rock stars. I mean, established rock stars. And I'm the FNG. I am not established. I am nobody. So I read the thing. Nate started riffing off of it, and it was the beginning of chemistry. It's an overused word, but it's chemistry. Nate and I met on a website back in 2005. I've known him a very, very long time, and it's like I've known him all my life. I'm very, very lucky. And so we get done with this thing at the Waldorf, 2016 January. People are handing us business cards saying, "Do more. We need more of this." They had to kick us out of the room. People were still talking to us. And so we get done with this thing, and the crowd eventually disperses. And I said, "What'd you think?" And Nate looks at me and he says, "Doc, I said a lot more than I thought I was going to." And I said, "Well, you're among analysts. And when you've never been in a room full of analysts before, you think to yourself initially, I am among the biggest collection of flakes I've ever seen until the ideas start to flow and whatnot. And it's like, oh, this makes sense." So he and I started globetrotting, really. He and I have done that presentation at LA Psychoanalytic. We've done it in Chicago. We've done it several times in New York City, New York Psychoanalytic, White Institute, where I graduated, Boston
Awesome.
Psychoanalytic. We've done it at national and international conferences. And we deliver like an updated version of it to this very day. And it just worked. It's called chemistry. Now, Luis was retiring out of the Navy. What was it, 4 or 5 years ago? And I sent him a friend request, reached out to him, and I said, "This is who I am. This is what I do." And he says, "Well, Doc, listen, I'm just retiring out. I'm trying to get my bearings." I said, "Okay, at your speed, whenever you get around to it." And he said, "I'll call you." And I said, "Okay, give me your phone number so I know it's you, but I won't make the first move." 2 weeks went by. The phone goes off and it's Luis. Luis and I wound up having a video chat, much like this, that went on for over 2 hours.
nice.
Um, he was choking up during parts of it for different reasons. I was choking up during parts of it. And I said, "You want to meet my buddy Nate?" And he said, "Yeah." And so this is to the best of my recollection. So the three of us did a video chat together, and we kind of looked at at the end of a very prodigious discussion. We kind of looked at each other and said, "Can we do something with this? Because there's something funny that happens when you get the three of us together."
Mhm.
And Nate came up with the idea of three guys talking, and I thought that didn't have enough spunk. And I'm pretty sure I was the one who said, "Hey, how about two docs and a grunt?" Nate always thinks of himself, even though he retired out as an officer, as that 17-year-old grunt out in the field. And depending on the evening, we got Louise's doc number 1 or doc number 2, and it's chemistry. And by far and away, let me say this for the record, this is the greatest team I've ever been on. These are the cool. Go ahead, Louise. Give me an ass chewing. I can't hear you. You're muted.
I was gonna say, and it's a play on 2 girls and 1 cup.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll be thinking about that as I'm trying to get to sleep. So anyway, we're just it just works. So the three of us looked at each other. Yeah, this works. Let's do something with this. So Two Docs and a Grunt was born, and we started asking people. I'm for whatever reason I seem to be getting the most guests. We've had 9/11 responders, cops, firefighters, you name it. And as far as the effect and I'll shut up after this point, the effect we seem to have on our guests. One of our guests was a retired 2-star general,
Nice.
who refers to me as his brother, and he bear hugs me whenever he sees me. I'm getting bear hugs from retired flag officers. I think I must be adorable. In any case,
It's weird.
um, oh
Weird.
yeah, it's a
Flapping the beard.
lifetime supply of free dental floss. But anyway, so he came on with us, and he was commanding troops on the pile, the retired 2-star general, and very open. He despite the fact that he's bound by the UCMJ and has to maintain deportment and all that stuff, he was very human with us that night. And he said, when I was on the pile, I didn't know it at the time, but the destroyed fire trucks was the thing that would stick with me. So he went on to say years later, after he retired out, he was walking with his grandkids someplace, and they were out in the country, and they happened to go by like an old auto graveyard, and there were some flattened, rusted out, destroyed fire trucks there. He said, I saw those trucks, and I had to step away from the grandkids to compose myself. At which point, in the webcast, he burst into tears all over again. Those two, imagine, even though he was retired out, not in uniform, those 2 stars fell off of his shoulders, and he became just as human as the rest of us. Now, it was a powerhouse podcast, as most of them are. I call him up the next day, and I ask him, or no, I text him. I said, listen, are you okay? I feel we have an ethical obligation to follow up with our people. And he said, Doc, I loved it. I would do it all over again. And then he gave us the benediction that we seem to receive from just about everybody. He said, it's like I've known you guys for years. And that says it all
It really
right
does.
there.
It really does. I love that that's part of y'all's process. You're definitely in it for the right reasons. And I'd love to have you guys back. I mean, I'm looking at the time and I'm like, oh, I knew this was gonna happen. So we're definitely gonna have you back. But with everything that's going on, I hate the 22 a day. I hate because that's just not the facts. We have veterans who are drinking themselves to death, who are, who overdose purposely by suicide, but it's looked as an overdose as they're an addict, or the veterans who are addicts. Those numbers aren't being counted. So the 22 day is just, it's a catchy phrase.
It is.
It's an
And
incomplete data set. It also does not include, it doesn't include data from states who chose not to report their suicide numbers of veterans.
wow. I didn't even know that. Just with the numbers that I was looking at, with the things that were overlooked or that get put in, I didn't even realize the state had an option to not put that in. So it's even a sadder situation. So to have these platforms, whether they're guests on your show or if they're just watching your show, and you're helping healing in that way, I commend you guys. This, as somebody who puts on a show, this isn't an easy job. I can very much tell from just the short conversations that we had that this doesn't just end here for you guys, that you do carry these stories on with you. Um, and so it takes a strong person to do this without breaking. Because unfortunately, our veterans, I have found we can't count on the VA to do this. We have to work together. And that is the only way that we are going to do better is by working together. I'm
Yes,
not,
sir.
and I don't say that the VA is all bad. It's not. But in an overall blanket, unfortunately, it is just not taking care of you guys the way it should.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, what I
And
tell people about the VA experiences, the individual providers I've never had a problem with. The bureaucracy side and the rules that they're forced to work within, that's always been the problem we run into. And
Yeah.
also, when you're talking about your guests, you know, and you have guests and you make this interpersonal connection with them on the show. I mean, we've had family members of our previous guests invite us to their service members' funeral. I mean, it goes deep when you get to know people and you care for real.
Yeah.
and I think what every podcast needs that little special sauce, the little special sprinkle, right? Um, and I think the one thing that we all have is, you have a Navy corpsman that was awarded a very high valorous medal, right? And
Yep.
so a lot of, Marines, sailors, airmen, whatever, might look at that award and be like, dude, that's you know,
That's
balls of
badass,
steel,
Eminem.
yeah, type of a dude, right? And then
You
you have Doc Barry, right, who's been studying psychology for over 20 years, and you might look at him and you might think, man, that's a man with so much wealth of knowledge. Like what really can affect him mentally, right? Then you have someone like Nate that went from, the enlisted ranks all the way up into the officer ranks, dealt with all of the bullshit that they have to go through, learning how to lead young men and women, learning all of that, right? And then our guest comes on the show and maybe they had that premonition of who we are. And then when the one of the first things that comes out of our mouth is, yeah, I've tried to off myself. I fucking hate myself sometimes. I this and this. It makes it so real. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. These guys, the ones that are trying to help everyone else, also have the same bullshit problems that I do. Okay, let's talk about this. And I think that's what makes this a lot more
yeah,
relatable.
connect with it when you're real.
Yeah.
One more thing I'll throw in here as far as, you know, mental health struggles. I didn't see combat. I don't fight the same fight that Nate and Louise do, but I did fight with depression for over 20 years.
Yeah.
Um, I wasn't, let's just say, I started off very strong. Something bad happened to me when I was little and nothing was ever done about it. And I got the message that nobody cared. So I figured, well, fuck the world. And
Yeah.
school, which I came to hate, which is the final irony because look at how much school I've
Yeah,
had.
what you
It
do.
was I I hated I hated grammar school. I just wanted it to be over. I didn't feel like I was part of a class. I hated every day. And just come home, just slam the door, throw my shit down, and go upstairs in my room just so I could be left alone. And according to including certain members of my so-called blood family, I wasn't worth it. I wasn't supposed to amount to anything, et cetera, et cetera. And I barely scraped through high school. Okay, have a terrible experience in the military, go to community college because I think I'm supposed to, flunk out, fight my way back in, have a god awful time for the other part of the bachelor's degree, being told that I have no business being in psychology because I was struggling so much by tenured experts. See what I'm doing with my hand here? Tenured experts. And then 10 years later, after high school, I finished my master's at Harvard University, being
Wow.
told that, yes, actually, I am very good at this sort of thing. And the guy who stuffed the guts back into me, my mentor, turns out he was an oddball on the Harvard Psych faculty as well. They didn't know what to do with him. And he had the same kind of screwy relationship with his father that I had with mine. So he took one look at me, just like these guys take one look and say, okay, sit down. You're part of the trauma club. Nobody wants to join this club, but here we are. What happened? And I started the rebuild. And now, that was back 82, 83. Now, and I've been elected fellow of the American Psychological Association. And what that means, folks, is to be elected fellow, you have to clearly demonstrate national or even international impact with your work. And fewer than 5% of the entire membership of APA go on to become full fellows. So I wasn't supposed to, make it out of my bachelor's degree. Here I am today. And I'm going to tell you how so those are, in a nutshell, my own mental health shit. But what saved me was guys like Nate and Luis, and so God knows how many others cheering me on, believing in me when my family of origin largely did not. And
Wow.
the early years of academia, tenured experts saying, "No, you don't belong here." These guys and others like them have been saying, "The fuck you don't. You're one of us. We it, we feel safe around you." And it's still a little bewildering when I think about it, but I've survived. Here I am today. So,
Well,
and I'm
I'm
and I'm
glad you
I'm
are.
grateful, and I'm grateful.
All righty. I am going to have to.
Oh, I
What
was
do
just
you?
gonna say before we cut it, because we do have to do our little entertainment segment. We'll get one in because again, it ran over like I knew it would. So I definitely because I want to talk about I want to have you guys back because I really, with your backgrounds, with your experience, with everything that's going on and with the VA right now, and now they're talking about psychedelics. I'd really like to talk to you guys about the policy change and what your thoughts are on this because I personally um and other veterans are highly concerned with just the medications that are being passed out sometimes.
I
And
agree.
are there alternatives? So I'd love to pick your brains on the next episode with two docs and a grunt with you guys. But Jimmy wants to get to our funny.
I wasn't even gonna. I'm at the point. I don't know if we're actually going
We
to
can
get the
get
bad advice.
one.
I
We
will
can
try and
get
force one
one.
in. But before we get to the bad advice, and before we get any farther as far as that goes, I'm gonna take 3 seconds and well, 15 seconds and do two quick combined commercials, and then try and catch us up on the comments because we have had some good comments in here as far as that goes, both
Yeah.
good comments and funny comments. Um, and I want to keep our audience involved. So
So we may have to go over a couple minutes, guys. Just hang with us, but we'll make it worth it. I promise.
all right. So for those of you who are looking to improve your business, start your own business, start your own organization, or sell your services to the government, get some of them government contracts, get some of that government money, head over to
Money,
RTS
money,
at
money.
YESRTS.com. These guys are absolutely amazing. They will hold your hand through the entire process. Break it down Barney style, keep it simple, stupid. If my Crown Eating ass can follow along when it comes to getting our 501c set up, I'm sure you can too. So get on their books, get an appointment set up with them, and see what they can do for you. Once again, that's YESRTS.com. For those of you who enjoy our particular brand of humor, join us on Crown Eater 1775 on Facebook. It's a private group. We believe in healing through laughter. So it's a see if I can use the right word here, subsidiary of Crown Eater's Wife 1775, the organization. We believe in healing through laughter. So
He even forgets our own stuff.
the military humor, the dark, the inappropriate, the sometimes explicit,
I don't know who does that. That is not. Yeah.
is what you're going to
We need
find.
to go
Anything
after
that we
that
can do
person.
to make you spit your coffee out every morning, put a smile on your face and keep you from going to the dark places is what we aim to do. If you would like to check out some of our gear, head over to cw1775.org. We've got some great t-shirts, some great ball caps, trucker hats, hoodies, both zip up and pull over, women's V-neck t-shirts. We've got a cool looking flask on there and a cool looking little coffee cup as well. Anything and everything that gets sold off the website at the moment will be going to the motorcycle, fixing up the motorcycle that we're looking to give away. Actually, we have like 3 or 4 of them
Three
in,
motorcycles.
in line to be fixed
It
up
was
so that
only
we
supposed
can
to
give
be
them
one.
give them away to either a veteran or first responder who could seriously use some wind therapy.
Yeah.
For those of you that are interested in checking that out, if you go to the Facebook page, on the featured post, you will find the post that is all about the motorcycle that we plan on giving away. And in that post, there is a link to the application that you can either apply for the motorcycle or nominate a veteran or first responder if you know that they're going to be too proud and don't want to fill out the application themselves. Bills have been paid. Looking at the comments, Sean McElhaney, geez, combining names now. Sean Berthoff stopped in, said, "Yo," he was upset that he was missing this, but he made it to Chicago Airport and had to run.
Yep. Bye, Sean.
Hi, Sean. Bye, Sean.
He's already gone.
Got it. How far? I have gone quite a ways. All right. Trying to, and I may miss some of these. I apologize, but I am trying to get a little bit of everybody. Lance said, "I think that we all deserve a close up of that stellar beard."
They're loving your beard. I'm telling you.
Christopher Morris gave a thumbs up and a wave. Theo, in response to Lance, said, "How much you want to bet that the beard has a beard?" Lance, in talking, looks like kind of like it might. Theo also commented the same thing Louis said about the name stems from Two Girls in One Cup. Don't look it up.
Don't look it up.
I'm surprised. Normally he would say
I had no
Google
clue.
it. Theo said Andrew gets the most guests because of his beard. Where to go? And it's back. The beard has a gateway that Narnie behind it.
I hope y'all were listening to
Or-
what we
or
were
a
actually
fist like Chuck
talking
Norris.
about.
Oh wow. Christopher Morris said, "Yep, I lost 2 this weekend." Sorry to hear that, Christopher.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
Lance,
Yeah, that was a sad one to read.
Mm.
and because of the wide variety of topics, my TBI, and the fact that I just got done the commercials, I've lost track of where in the conversation Lance McElhaney said that may be where they he probably meant where they hid Jimmy Hoffa, not hit Jimmy
Yeah,
Hoffa.
he retyped his right up underneath that.
No. Nick Alden said there were 2 Marines in my family who drank themselves to death, so that number is much higher. Sorry
Yeah.
about that, Nick. But glad you're still here.
Absolutely.
He's in response to Christopher said, "So very sorry." In response, said, "Yeah, it's not nice. I am safe, sober, and a little ballsy lately." All right. Sorry,
I think that's it.
Yeah, it looks like
Go
that's
ahead.
about it. All right, so we will get one quick about it.
Wait,
What?
Doc.
What?
Doc was saying.
Okay.
Oh.
Regarding the whole suicide prevention thing goes, and Nate and Louise have heard me say this 100 times, but it's worth repeating here. As far as post-traumatic stress, for anybody who is listening to us who is suffering from this, hear me now. Hear me this day. You, sir or ma'am, you're not crazy. You're not weak. You're reacting perfectly normally to an unbelievably abnormal set of circumstances. You're just in pain, and who wouldn't be? That's the first thing. The second thing, if anybody listening to us this day and listens to us ever again down the road, here is the first step toward putting the suicide from God knows how many a day down to 0 where it should be. And it's very simple. You open up your mouth and the pain comes out. I'm I didn't think that one up. I'm not smart enough. That's way above my pay grade. But yes, folks, it is that simple. People end themselves because they can no longer live with the mental, the emotional pressure. Okay, and it's not that they want to die. They just no longer want to live. Now that sounds like a bullshit phrase out of SNL's Jack Handy skits, but it's true. They cannot think of life past their own nose without the current level of agony. So it's not that they want to die, they just don't want to live anymore with that unbelievable, that indescribable amount of pain. So again, what do we do about it? We open up our mouth and start talking about that pain. The pain eventually comes out and the agony starts to decrease and decrease and decrease until some actual thinking can take place. Asking for help is the hardest goddamn thing you'll ever do, but it will
It's the
save your
strongest.
life. And there is no difference between asking for help here in the United States versus asking for help out in the bush over your radio.
I think it's important because to say that it's actually the strongest thing you'll ever do is reaching out.
Man.
It has been ingrained, whether it's just males, military. It was ingrained, especially of people of our age and generation, that it was ingrained that you were weak. And it is actually the strongest thing to reach out and ask for help. But thank you for that. I don't know. I don't want to go to a joke now. I feel like
Way to go, Doc.
thanks, Doc, for ruining the mood. No, I'm just it's definitely something that is worth saying and saying again and saying again. Um, yeah, not everybody's as lucky as I am to have somebody find them.
Yeah.
And I never cry, but for some reason I get on this show and always start getting teary eyed because I really, as much as I'm not a veteran, I very much have lived this life.
Yeah.
Since the day I was born, whether it was through my parents or the man I married. But I've also had these mental health struggles, whether it's bipolar, being diagnosed late. It's very much the same on par when somebody who's lived their life normally, that now is being forced to take medication.
Yeah.
And going through that process, it's very hard to accept when it's later in life versus, maybe talking to your children when they're younger and putting them on medication or what have you. Sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's not. And that's why I'd love to have that next show with you guys to really, talk about these things. Because we had somebody, Larry Miller. There, he's the father of the man who killed himself at San Antonio's VA. And for him, he's a doctor as well.
Right.
Medications. So I'd love to talk about this, this new policy that's coming out and what your thoughts are on it. But as the tears are rolling down, Jimmy,
Before we go to
a
any more sad news and make the show longer, let's end it with a little bit of comic relief here as far as it goes, and we'll move
do it.
to the one bad advice before we jump off air. So for those of you who are not used to this or new to it as far as it goes, hi Lorianne, we see you. This is the bad news advice. Basically, it's like a Dear Abby type advice column. Someone has written in a question. We will read it out. We will give our guest time to answer. Beth and I will give our answers, which will give our audience time to type in their answers. Then we'll read out their answers. The goal of this advice column is to give the absolute worst advice possible. So, hi guys, and I'm going to butcher the hell out of this name. Babatunde here. I'm a Nigerian immigrant to the to America by way of Norway. I live in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I'm about to graduate college with a bachelor's in finance, and I am thinking about starting a business in finance. What recommendations do you have for me?
Do we
Don't-
type that or we just say it out loud?
Just
Yeah,
say
you guys, we say it out loud. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Mm.
Oh,
Type.
what you need to do, Baba Tundi, is you need to go to your bank and pull out all of your money and bet it all on black, and
There
and,
you
and you'll be good to go. That's it. Easy day.
I think he needs to team up with the Nigerian prince
There
who
you
can
go.
help him funnel that money into email lists and reach out to people.
Yeah,
I was gonna say this.
I've got an inheritance for you. All you have to do.
Okay, I would say go dig up Bernie Madoff, see if he can help you.
Dead? I didn't know he was dead. I knew he went to jail, but
Mhm.
he's dead now. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Bernie Madoff, by the way, as a young man growing up in the 50s, he was a greaser. He had a ducktail. A lot of people don't know that.
I
Bernie
did.
Madoff with the ducktail, and it was during that period of his life when he was developing his evil financial wizardry and whatnot. And because of the ducktail and the way his mind worked, it came to be known as a Fonzie scheme.
You had me all the way there.
Right.
I'm gonna. I can't tell if this is bad advice or good advice, so I'm gonna say that this is a combo for answer for me for both bad advice and using the same question for hypothetical hijinks. I am going to say, take all your money and your degree in finance and invest it in hookers and blow.
There you go.
Become a pimp and recap the money later on down the line from
There you go. There you
pimping
go.
out the hookers and doing the blow, or pimping out the blow and doing the hookers, whichever comes first.
And give them access to your accounts. They'll help it multiply.
Exactly.
Yeah, make sure all the hookers have your PIN numbers and passwords. All right. Unfortunately, in that amount of time, we haven't had anybody give any bad news, advice, answers,
All right.
except
well,
for someone
we
saying
bring-
that it was ballsy time.
It was ballsy time. I know Christopher was like, it's ballsy time. I don't know what that means. But
Anyway, hopefully we at least put a small smile on people's faces with the last joke there. And we've had some. Go ahead.
before we go, we want them to plug your show in, tell us time, dates.
Give us a plug for Two Docs and a Grunt. Let us know time, dates that we can find the show.
And where we can find it at.
You want this, Luis?
Yeah, I could take it. So Two Docs and a Grunt, we come on live every other Sunday. So we would be on the 21st, but I unfortunately will be traveling back from a speaking engagement. So we won't have one that day, but then 2 weeks after that we will. You can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Facebook, and you can find us on Instagram under Two Docs and a Grunt. And yep, that's it.
All right, guys. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on. I know we were competing shows at one point on Sundays. So I'm really glad that we decided to move so that we could have you on and we can make this happen.
Definitely.
And we definitely want to have you back so that we can really talk about some policy changes and, how to better help our veterans in the future.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Sounds good. Well, I would love to be back with all of y'all.
All
Me
right.
too.
Me too.
Yeah.
For tonight, that is it here in the Crayon Box. We thank everybody for watching. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the show. Stick around. We're going to do a little after actions afterwards. But in the meantime, for those of you watching the show, join us again next Tuesday at 8 Eastern for hopefully another shenanigan-filled show. I'm surprised I actually said that one right.
I know. So proud of you.
We should have another great guest for you. If not, you'll at least get to see Beth and I putting a smile on your face in some way, shape, or form. For
There you
tonight, Crayon Box, we love you and good night.
Good night.
I know you're